Hey everybody, Paul Abernathy here, and thanks for joining me on another episode here where we're going to look at the Fast Trax system. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at our grounding and bonding course. So you kind of see what's involved in it, some of the illustrations, and some of the features that are involved in it. I get a lot of questions about post-licensing courses. Obviously, we have the Fast Trax Black and the Plus to help you prepare for an electrical exam, but one of the bigger fundamentals is grounding and bonding. And once you're licensed and you get out into the field, a lot of the larger mistakes that we see are due to grounding and bonding issues. People that install the main bonding jumper improperly, people that size equipment grounding conductors improperly, supply side bonding jumpers improperly. All of those type of things can take an installation which may not have a load of hazards in. And by doing grounding or bonding incorrectly, you elevate the hazard. So it's important to understand the concepts of grounding and bonding. And so we have probably what I feel, I'm biased of course, is the best grounding and bonding course out there. And you've asked for it. People said, I want grounding and bonding. I want to be able to get deep into it. So we have an 8-unit program that really gets deep into the weeds of grounding and bonding. So let's kind of give it a look-see. And again, as always, if you have any questions, you always can reach out and let us know on our website. There's a contact us form, and I answer all emails, questions personally. Okay, so let me kind of get you to the program real quick. All right, so when you get into your course, this is what it'll look like. You won't have these green buttons up here and all this stuff because this is stuff that we use to add stuff and change stuff in the course, but essentially look the same as this. And it's broken down into 8 units. Of course, you have an introduction that's just basically going to give you the introduction of the program, introduction to grounding and bonding, some of the principal concepts, and then it's going to dig into the units. So I wanted you to see how deep it was into the units. Now, I will also show you the features on the right side, which you can see over here running down. There's some, again, when you want to see grading, you go here. When you want a flashcards, you go here. Here's the book itself. And then here's some study hub. This is where you go to find your bookmarks and your tabs, your highlights and all that stuff. But again, let's kind of break it down a little bit. So first thing you're going to do when you get in here, is Introduction to Grounding and Bonding. You'll click on it and you'll notice that there's a video, and that video is kind of just telling you what you're going to learn. It's kind of like the objectives or the overview. And all those videos are from me. And again, it kind of gives you an overview on what's going to be in this unit. And then you simply go right into the unit. And this is your reading material. So you're going to go right into your reading material. And I will kind of take you back to the beginning. So when you get in there, you'll have your chapter introduction, kind of objectives. And again, I covered that in the video, so you could skip this part. And then you get into reading material. Now, once you get into this reading material, again, it's a lot of material to read. We still have the ballistic feature where you could, if you wanted, left click and drag it, right? And then you could read it aloud. Okay, so we'll read it to you.
Over the years, the subject of grounding electrical systems, circuits, and equipment has...
Okay, so it'll actually read it and send it back to you. So if you follow the bouncing ball, I'll show you that again.
Been among the most misunderstood of topics related to electricity.
If you read it at the same time, then it's going to give you a better awareness of it, okay? Because you're going to read it, you're going to understand it, you're going to hear it. It just helps you in the learning process. So you still have that feature. That's pretty consistent through all of our Fast Trax programs. What you also have is the ability to change the size of the text again, right? And then, of course, you can make it smaller if you want, or you can make it larger, depending on what you're on a desktop or phone or a tablet, whatever you want. And again, you could print any page just like our normal Fast Trax program. Now, you see here below me, that is the Fast Trax Black. That's exam prep. So what we're looking at today is our grounding and bonding course. So I didn't want any confusion there. The Fast Trax Black is our flagship course, so that's why it's down there. All right, so you simply go through the unit. You'll see a lot of information that's going to be grayed out. That tells you it's extracted from the code. And you'll get down and you'll see there are images in here, illustrations, diagrams, everything that you need to fully understand. The ground fault path, again, code. And then what's important here is discussions, okay? So there is discussions that take place that are about the information you just read so that you can kind of relate to it. You read it and go, okay, let's talk about it a little bit. And that's what discussion's all about. And we go into a deep discussion. We have illustrations again that you can pop up. And there you go. Shows you the different illustrations, effective ground fault current path. Okay, everything is here. And it talks about path through the earth. Obviously, y'all know that the earth cannot be used as an effective ground fault current path. The resistance is way too high. But anyway, you've got all this. You can print anything you want right here. Just click the print button. And you just move through the program. Okay, we're going to get into Ohm's law, basic electrical theory. Kind of one of those things you need to understand when it comes to grounding and bonding. And terminologies. We'll talk about volts, amps, ohms. You just move your way through the course. Okay, you'll see examples. So we start you out very basic, give you some understanding. As you move through the system, it's broken down into different areas. You've got the grounding and bonding, and then the grounding, and then you got the bonding. Okay, bonding starts at Unit 5. Everything prior to that is talking about grounding and aspects of grounding. Now, one of the other things you get is you get an assessment. Now, I'll click on the assessment, and the assessment is just going to make sure that you're aware of everything you just learned. So you click on the assessment, and here you have got, there are 24 questions in the assessment. And you simply will read the assessment and choose your answer, and it will tell you whether it's right or wrong. In fact, one of the neat things here is it will also tell you where it is in the reading material that you need to go to find that answer once you choose one of your answers here. Okay? You can grade it after every question, or you can submit it for overall grading at the end. Totally up to you, but I recommend you check your work after every one just to kind of see how you're doing. But you have all those throughout here, and every unit has an assessment to check your knowledge. Okay? And then you just simply move through the unit. Now, there are also some appendices down here, and these are pretty cool because these talk about things like the U for ground, the history of the U for ground, understanding ground resistance testers, whether it's the 3-point fall of potential or 4-point or the clamp on. It kind of goes into those details, talks about conduit fittings, ground fault current, withstanding capabilities. Really interesting reading material, but it's included in the program, and it's just going to raise your level of knowledge of grounding and bonding in the program. Now, we also throw in a bunch of flashcards to test your knowledge on grounding and bonding, as well as we also give you the exam prep test questions. So 800 questions there. Now, if you're in a grounding and bonding course, maybe you don't need those practice ones, but I like to think that once you're still licensed, you still want to keep those skills honed out. And that's why we give those questions in there. Every now and then you can go in there, do an exam. And again, it's to test your knowledge. But the course when it comes to grounding and bonding is quite extensive. It goes very deep into all of the subjects. Okay? And the interesting thing about it is how it flows. So what's unique about this grounding and bonding course is it starts at the beginning of 250 and starts working you up through. As each unit goes on, you start moving up through the actual course. You're moving up through Article 250. And of course, there are some other aspects in here that talks about other special equipment that are covered in like Chapter 5. Okay, so just want to show you that here, show you some reading material for that. So as you can see here, it covers hazardous location bonding. It talks about isolated ground receptacles, wet procedure locations if you're in a healthcare facility. It goes into all the mobile home applications, recreational vehicle. So as you can see, it kind of goes into all those aspects of it. So marinas as well in 555, all of that is covered in here. So pretty darn extensive in what it covers when it comes to grounding and bonding. So if you've ever questioned something like, why do we not have the neutral and the equipment ground together at a remote building where a panel is installed, and you want to know why 250.24a5 prohibits this, then this is the course for you, because it's going to get deep into why you don't want the neutral to be connected to the case or the enclosure downstream when it's other than a service. That's all covered in here. So it's going to kind of, I don't know how many times I see pictures on TikTok, Instagram, Trade Hounds, where people are very proud of their work, but they got that main bonding jumper in there, and it's the green screw in most cases, and it needs to be removed for a remote distribution panel. It's for service equipment, fine, but for a remote panel, no, you don't want it. All that's covered in here. And again, anything that you wanted to know about grounding and bonding is in this course. It's very in-depth. Of course, you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. As most of you know, I serve on Code Making Panel 5. So again, grounding and bonding is kind of one of my specialties, and I take a lot of pride in this program because I helped develop the course materials. So it's a lot of source of pride for me, and I think you'll get a lot out of the program. So if you are interested in a really good grounding and bonding course, and everybody that works with electricity should have a grounding and bonding course. If you have electricians that work in your company, people don't understand grounding and bonding to the point where they overdo it or they don't do it enough. And both ways can be very hazardous. So this teaches you the right way to do it and gives you illustrations to make it easy. So if you're in a company and you have employees, you want to make sure your employees go through a grounding and bonding course because it ensures that everything's being done right. Because you know what? Electricity works even when something's done wrong. But when it comes to grounding and bonding and tying all metal parts together and having that effective low impedance ground fault current path, if you do it wrong, it still works. But somebody comes in contact with it and they get injured, you're liable. Okay? So you need to understand grounding and bonding. And I hope that you'll get our course. For more information on our course, just go to our website, fasttracksystem.com, and you'll find more information on our grounding and bonding course. But I encourage you to check it out. Again, you're already licensed. This should be your next step. Learn about grounding and bonding. Till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.